Is it a good deal for Aussie Rugby, folks? They've extended their deal with Channel 9 and Stan for 4 more years. 4 more years, boys. 4 more years for Aussie Rugby with their current partners for more money. Admittedly, more money than it was before. We'll go through what the deal is. How does it compare to the previous one? How does it compare to New Zealand's deal? And you guys can let us know your thoughts on whether you think this one is a good one for the average kind of Aussie rugby fan and for Rugby Australia. It is more money. If you just wanted more money, this is your deal because it is more money. The last deal was a bit of a lowball offer, but remember, Aussie Rugby was kind of having a bit of internal turmoil. They had a bit of a falling out with Fox Sports and whatnot, so they kind of accepted a lowball $100 million over 3 years deal from Nine and Stan. Last time, only $33 odd million a year, was not a heck of a big chunk of change, but they did manage to get more games free to air than what used to be on. So that was kind of getting more eyeballs on the prize. This deal kind of reverts back to a bit more of the more money but potentially fewer eyeballs because they've gone up from the $100 million over 3 years deal to 215 to 240, depending on results. It is a little bit kind of performance based. The better results the Wallabies have, the more money they potentially get out of this deal over 4 years. So you're looking at between 43 and $48 million a year, which is certainly at least 10 million more a year as part of the broadcast deal for Aussie Rugby. Part of me thinks it could have been a little bit better, because in theory, this should be a real boom time for Aussie Rugby over the next few years, because during this 26 to 30 window, Australia gets to host both the next men's and next women's World Cup. So if ever there was a time, and we've got a Lions tour coming this year, which is obviously outside of this broadcast period, but they've kind of got back-to-back big events on Aussie soil. So if ever there was a time to stir up some interest in the game, this would have been the time. So it's not like a game-changing, big old, huge doubling of the money kind of deal, but it's still a big increase, that's for sure. In comparison, the New Zealand rugby deal, if you convert it into Aussie dollars, is about $100 million a year that New Zealand Rugby have currently got with Sky Sports over here in New Zealand. And remember, that caused a little bit of tension before between New Zealand Rugby and Aussie Rugby, so hopefully the tension gets a little bit reduced because Aussie Rugby was wanting a chunk of that pie. The last time the deal was negotiated, New Zealand Rugby basically just said, well, you should have got a better deal out of Channel 9 then, but then New Zealand Rugby did kind of acquiesce and split them in on it a little bit. So, yeah, hopefully this reduces a little bit of tension between those two. And New Zealand Rugby still got their deal to sign coming up, and they are definitely going to get less money than what they did. Like, I think Aussie Rugby got lowballed last time, and New Zealand Rugby kind of got their peak deal. This time Aussie Rugby's deal's gone up. New Zealand Rugby's next deal with Sky or whoever they sign with will in all likelihood be lower than what they are currently on. So yes, more money for Aussie Rugby. Remember, it doesn't include Rugby World Cup rights. That's not Aussie Rugby's to sell, that's World Rugby's. But it is over this kind of double World Cup period. So it is a big period for Aussie Rugby, and they are going to be making a bit extra cash out of it. The other kind of catch, I suppose, is the fact that the previous contract, even though it was a lowball one, did guarantee at least one game per round of Super Rugby would go free to air. That is no longer part of the deal. So Stan could be the host for all of the Super Rugby games from next year, which would mean essentially all behind a paywall. Wallabies games are still going to be free to air, but yeah, Super Rugby potentially not, which would be disappointing because all the talk from this year is about all the viewership numbers are up. They just recently said that in round 8, like viewership on Channel 9 was up 30%. So it'd be a shame to lose some of those viewers, but money. They've gotten some more money out of it. So, yeah, I'm a little bit torn because here in New Zealand, there's nothing free to air in terms of rugby. It's pretty much all behind the paywall. I do think that is detrimental to the game longer term. It would be nice to get more eyeballs on the prize. But, yeah, they are getting more money in return for it. So it seems a little bit short-sighted, especially if the free-to-air viewer numbers were up. But yeah, we'll kind of have to wait and see if it has any kind of longer-term effects. Having Wallabies games free-to-air is probably more important, but it'd be nice to get the kind of week in, week out Super Rugby action at least partially free to air as well. Phil Ward did say that the future of Australian rugby is bright and their growth trajectory is strong, that the deal will ensure Australian rugby is well supported from the grassroots through to international level. So hopefully he's right. He has to say that. He's the guy who just agreed to the deal. But you guys let us know what your thoughts are. Do you think no free-to-air Super Rugby will be detrimental long-term? Or do you think the increase in money they're able to inject into the game, maybe keep some Wallabies in Australia a bit longer, will overall put them in a stronger position? You guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.